A man notices that something in the house has stopped working. Maybe it is the washing machine, the garage door,
or an old lamp that suddenly refuses to turn on. He opens a drawer, takes out a screwdriver, watches a few videos, removes the wrong screw, and spends the next 2 hours surrounded by tools. Why don't we call someone? His answer comes immediately. I can fix it. The strange thing is that this reaction rarely stays inside the toolbox. The same man may be overwhelmed at work, worried about money, sleeping badly, or carrying a family problem he does not know how to solve. But when someone asks if he needs help, he gives the same answer in a different form. I'm fine, I'll handle it, it's nothing. From the outside, this can look like pride, stubbornness, or emotional distance, and sometimes it is. But for many men, especially those who grew up believing that strength meant self-sufficiency, asking for help is not a simple practical decision. It can feel like admitting failure, because the real question is not, why is he refusing help? The deeper question is, what does he believe he will lose if he accepts it? A deadline is approaching, and there is one part of the project he does not fully understand. A colleague could probably help him in 10 minutes. But asking would require him to say, I don't know. So he stays late, he reads the same information again, he tries another solution. He tells himself that he should already understand it, that word, should, changes everything. I don't know yet becomes I should know. I need help becomes I am not capable. When a person's value becomes connected to competence, a small difficulty can feel like a personal judgment. Help no longer feels like a resource. It feels like evidence. Evidence that he is not as reliable, intelligent, or prepared as people believe. This belief often begins quietly. Maybe he grew up in a home where adults were already overwhelmed. Maybe he was praised for being independent, responsible, and easy to manage. Maybe he learned that the best way to receive respect was to be useful. He fixed things. He solved problems. He stayed calm. He did not complain. No one may have told him, never ask for help. But he may still have learned that being strong meant becoming the person who did not need it. And to be fair, this can create real strength. Solving problems alone can build self-confidence. Every challenge becomes proof that persistence works. You try, you fail, you adjust, you learn. You solve it. Over time, you begin to trust yourself. That is not necessarily unhealthy. Some people genuinely enjoy figuring things out alone. They think more clearly without outside opinions. They value privacy and independence. Not every quiet person is more closed. The difference is flexibility. Healthy independence is a choice. Defensive independence feels like the only acceptable option. You can see the difference when the situation changes. But the reaction does not. The repair becomes dangerous, but he refuses to call a professional. His body shows warning signs, but he avoids the doctor. The financial problem gets worse, but he hides it. His relationship is suffering, but every conversation ends with, there's nothing to talk about. At that point, independence may no longer be solving the problem. It may be helping him avoid a feeling. Maybe shame, maybe fear. Maybe the discomfort of being seen without an answer. For some people, external control is a way to manage internal tension. If he can fix the problem, he does not have to face the emotion. If he keeps moving, he does not have to admit he is overwhelmed. If he finds the answer alone, he does not have to risk being judged. But fear of incompetence is only one explanation. For another man, the deeper issue may be trust. Maybe someone once offered help and later used it as leverage. Maybe support came with criticism. Maybe a private confession became public information. Maybe the person who promised to stay disappeared when the situation became inconvenient. After enough experiences like that, self-reliance becomes, I don't want to owe anyone. Or, I don't want you to have power over me. Or even, I would rather struggle than be disappointed again. This is why two people can behave in exactly the same way for completely different reasons. One works alone because he enjoys freedom. Another works alone because collaboration makes him anxious. One values privacy. Another uses privacy to make sure no one gets close enough to hurt him. The behavior is the same, the mechanism is different, and sometimes the deepest mechanism is identity. Some men become so used to being reliable that they no longer know who they are when they are not solving something. They are the person everyone calls when the car will not start, when the bills do not make sense, when the family needs money, or when a crisis requires someone to stay calm. Being needed gives them purpose. It gives them a place, it tells them that they matter, but usefulness can quietly become personal value. They can give advice, but they cannot ask for it. They can support others, but they do not know how to be supported. They can listen to someone else's fear, but they change the subject when asked about their own. The more people depend on them, the less permission they feel to depend on anyone else. And this creates a painful cycle. He does not ask for help. People assume he does not want it. They stop offering. He feels alone. That loneliness confirms his belief that he cannot rely on anyone, so he becomes even more self-sufficient. The behavior creates the isolation that seems to justify it. This is why the most important question is not whether you solve problems alone. It is whether you still have a choice. Can you say, "I want to try this myself," without becoming defensive? Can you also say, "This is beyond me," without feeling ashamed? Can you accept someone else's knowledge without feeling smaller? Can you receive support and without believing that your value has changed? So the next time someone offers help, notice what happens before you answer. Do you calmly consider the offer? Or does your body tense before you even understand what they are suggesting? You do not have to accept every form of help. Some advice is intrusive, some favors really do come with conditions, but you can pause long enough to separate choice from reflex. You can ask for one opinion without giving up control. You can say, "I'm not ready to talk about everything, but I'm having a difficult week." You can let someone carry one part of the weight without handing them your entire life. Maybe he really can fix it. Maybe he just needs more time. But maybe the machine has become a test of whether he is still capable, useful, and in control, and maybe the person offering help is not trying to replace him. Maybe they are simply trying to stand beside him. Real independence is not the absence of need. It is the freedom to act alone when that makes sense, and to accept support when it does not. Because perhaps the greatest sign of strength is not proving that you can carry everything alone. It is knowing that your value remains intact when someone helps you carry it. If you recognized yourself or someone you love in this story, share your experience in the comments and subscribe for more reflections on the psychology behind everyday behavior.